And we are live, and my kids are actually screaming in the back, so you could probably hear that. So, welcome to Youth Flag Rugby Discussions, a podcast focusing mostly on youth, non contact, mixed gender. This is a rugby union. This is just honest talk, similar to just hanging out and chatting or listening to your buddies at the pub. Now, so though some of our co-hosts may have sat or are sitting on boards, related boards, we are not affiliated with USA Rugby or Myro or any of the other state rugby organizations. This is just us hanging out and trying to come across, bring you some news, and just give you some discussion, that is relevant. All right, so going down the list, my name is Daniel. Who's next?
Navesh. Coach
This is
JP.
Chris here.
We got Daryl also. Oh, Shaggy, you on?
It's Shaggy. How's it going?
Fantastic. Steve, you on?
Hey, this is Steve with Barbarians.
Fantastic. All right, guys. So we've got a lot of news happening right now. Let's just jump right in. There's a lot going on in the world, which is affecting rugby in general. JJ, do you want to get us going?
Yeah, so troubling times. There's been a lot of anticipation, I suppose, waiting for news on what is happening with rugby in Massachusetts, in particular in regards to the coronavirus. So the latest we have in summary, and I'll do it very quickly, and this comes down in some sort of order for under which our rugby clubs are running as a part of USA Rugby. So USA Rugby has sanctioned rugby, has stopped it until the 31st of May. So there is no spring season. And if you haven't heard that, you can find it on the USA Rugby sites. You'll find it on a lot of Facebook pages. If you are running a club, we encourage you to share that information out to your community so everyone is aware of what's going on. The second thing we are falling under is under the governor of Massachusetts, who has recently announced a lockdown until the 7th of April. So that means effectively stay home, don't go out, do the right thing, and hopefully we hope for this thing to pass. So they're the two primaries. There are some other side issues with MIAA wanting to start up on the 27th of May. Obviously, there's other questions that clubs may come up with if the lockdown doesn't continue past the 7th of April or things change between the 7th of April and 31st of May between USAR and Massachusetts governing bodies, or your towns and what they're governing at, and the people you hire your fields from. But those issues will come up. We'll probably pick them up in news on following shows. That's the summary for now. So no spring season, and we'll see what happens next.
Yeah, and just as a summary, since maybe I wasn't paying attention,
Hello?
if you are,
Well, I'll just tell you. I mean, I'll just jump in, Navesh. Yeah, there's just so much going on right now. So many unpredictable things. It's really it's funny. You know, we started a whole outline for the current topic, the current news, and it was completely it was completely outdated like 2 days later. So it's wild. We're getting day by day things are happening, and
absolutely.
people any of these dates people are setting. It just doesn't make sense to even put a date on anything right now, really. And the earlier ones, I would just, if I'm out there listening to this, I'm out there trying to figure out what the timing will be on these things. Everyone's going to default to the last possible date. That's just the way it's going to have to be. I mean, one person's not going to want to look less safe than the other, so it's wild out there.
Yeah. What are you doing with the Sharks?
Just
Blanket
I
closure clause.
canceled it. I canceled the spring, and it stinks because the way my club is run, so I take registration money to fund both the spring and the summer. I have to buy everything and customize everything way early. So unfortunately, like most of the registration money people paid has already been spent on equipment, jerseys, this, that ball, help paying for the customized balls, all that kind of stuff. So I asked I just simply asked who wanted to defer to the next season. I'm offering refunds to people based on how many people are going to end up wanting refunds back. So hopefully, I'm hoping to get everyone their full refund back. But if
Well, let's hope they defer to the next season for you,
Right.
Shaggy.
I just have to have X amount. I think I'll get there. And if at the end of the day, I'm looking into some relief funds, things like that. What I don't want to do is I don't want to. Right, I really, for more than one reason, I don't want to have to pay for the club for a situation like this out of my pocket or ask for another administrator to pay for it. But I'm looking for ways to refund people, even if it's not in just the cash in the club. I'm giving everyone the balls, I'm giving everyone giving what they paid for.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate, but it's the situation we're in.
Right.
What about the Barbarians?
Well, so we do a single season. We do a spring and summer wrapped into one. So we haven't had to worry just yet about refunds. It's more of a discussion of let's delay and see where we go. And we started a bit later as well. So our registration had just opened up. I know we had a few players register, but we hadn't had a whole lot. I'm waiting for the final count from the rec department. And since we go through recreation, the money goes there. They have it. We can refund it. We've been pretty lucky. We hadn't had any expenses yet this year. We have tackle jerseys already paid for. We do the flag shirts pretty quick. We have a quick turnaround. We get those in, after the first week of practice. We'll order them and make them up ourselves. So I think we're in pretty good shape financially. Thank goodness. It's going to be for us a wait and see approach. And ideally, if we could start up after that May 31st, if that's still going to be the date, maybe we can have a good June and July for turnout. It's a bit challenging because, as I think we all probably agree, June things start to tail off a bit towards the end, and July can be a tough month in general. So we'll have to wait and see who will come with us for the summer.
Yeah. So Centaurs, I just sent out the notice cancelling spring. I'm not going to try and run anything earlier. I think we're all expecting this thing may drag out longer rather than come better sooner. And just to be obviously like us all, just to do the safest thing for everyone around. Fortunately, I haven't signed my lease agreements on my fields, so I'm not exposed. That was just fortunate that the vendor of the fields hadn't pushed it, and they were quite good in holding back on any of that stuff as well. So we just got to lock down and wait and see what happens. Like Shaggy said, day to day.
Right.
One thing I'm really trying to do though, I refuse to completely give up on the season, and for those people that are deferring, I'm gonna be releasing my practice schedule and drills to them, on our regular practice days to account for X amount of that practice time. So I want to, it's up to, I'm basically, we're drafting all the parents as coaches, and hopefully.
Shaggy, I just got a thought. I've got a thought because it's too hard for me to commit to the fields and then, only end up with like 2 days or 3 days or whatever it is. It's quite complicated. But I'm sure there'd be a number of people from our community, if you do start up and it's all cleared, that may be interested. I don't know what your thoughts are of opening it up.
It's the spring's canceled. I mean, it's just that's been established by USA Rugby.
Just for training.
Oh yeah, for train. I mean, it's what it is. If a bunch of kids happen to be getting together with rugby balls that are theirs, and it's just coordinated on on my account, on my sites, and I happen to just be at that field. I mean, that happens sometimes. Sometimes spontaneous pickup rugby games happen. That's happened in Whitman
Well,
a couple
Okay,
times
so
before
time
we
out.
registered
Time
the
out. I
team.
think I'm hearing two things, and I'm absolutely loving. I mean, which is why we're getting together. So I heard there was so Coach JJ. Actually, Coach J, you're the instigator, man. Here, you got two things that you're pushing that I want to just shine the light on and see where we are in this. So Coach JJ asked for two things. One is, all right, guys, when are you all actually starting? I think I heard that from him. And Shaggy sort of picked up and started talking about, but I think nobody has actually said, okay, this is when we're starting. Kind of since we're sitting here all together, we're kind of, we play each other and we help each other. So that's question number one is we'll go around the horn and figure out, okay, what is the starting date now for everybody? And then the second thing that I heard JJ instigating Shaggy is, and JJ, correct me if I'm wrong, were you asking Shaggy, hey Shaggy, if you're going to start practices early, do you want to have joint?
No,
He didn't use those words.
No,
Okay.
no, that wasn't joint. The question was if and when everything is cleared, and the state of Massachusetts, and you can have gatherings of X amount of people, it's up to 10 in a group or whatever, and some sort of distancing, but still keep going. USA Rugby is maybe a separate thing in this, in regards to just training. I don't know if that's the case, whether you have your own insurance and all this sort of stuff. But if that's the case, yeah, I'd happily support you, Shaggy, and put it out to our members that you're actually, going to do some pickup sessions, or because I can't do them in my fields.
No, as long as if things start looking better, we'll start figuring it out. I'm not gonna have kids stick. I mean, as soon as they're able to get out there, if kids want to play, then I'll help do that wherever they are. It's all good.
Yeah, I think that's something the whole community would be behind, right? I mean, if we can't salvage a full organized season, we can do. I mean, we have the rec department fields as well, so we'd always be happy to help have some kids out and run around and put something together and salvage a bit of the fun that we could have for the summer. Of course, as we all say, depending on the outlook from the towns, from the states, from from all concerned that it's safe.
So that's a topic that may be picked up from our wider community, probably south of Boston, with accessibility to both your clubs. For example, I don't know what the Hounds are doing, whether they are or aren't able to run their fields at a certain time, and you guys are, and if the conditions and obviously we're not going against any state regulations or national regulations.
Right. All right, so let's do this. It looks like we got past the news, and that's just for anybody that's in Miro at least, and you're trying to figure out what's going on with the season. We had a good sort of wrap up from summary from JJ and Shaggy. So we got two topics, and we actually just started jumping on the second topic. We just started talking about post-COVID. Once it starts lifting, and we start being able to get out and start getting, weighing, because it looks like there's a balance. There's like, what is your local state? What is your state going to tell you you're allowed to do? And what is rugby going to tell you you're allowed to do? And in what cases do we want to be bootleggers and start running kids across state lines so that we can get some practicing going or some games going? So that's like post-COVID. The topics for this show are surviving COVID. So what are we going to do now to be able to stay sane and maybe keep interest up, whatever. We'll talk about that. So that's topic number one, surviving COVID. The second topic we'll move on from there is sort of the natural progression is, okay, what happens when it's lifted and it's post-COVID? So during COVID, surviving COVID, post-COVID. So let's go ahead and jump in a little bit into the first topic that we're going to be talking about today, and that is surviving COVID. So we're all looking ahead and thinking about how we are going to be able to get out there. and have the kids and which season are we going to be able to save some of the spring or no none of the spring or going to go right to we'll figure that out in a half hour or so. Right now, let's talk about it's our condition right now, particularly with Massachusetts. Everything is shut down. Only a certain amount of people are allowed to gather together. And what is it less than 10 or is it 2 in Massachusetts right now?
I think Massachusetts was less than 10. There
Yes,
are
that's
some,
correct.
yeah, there's some states, I forget which, that had gatherings of no more than 2 or no more than 3.
Right.
But we haven't gotten there yet.
So that's the conditions we're living in right now. It's up to 10, but you still have to keep social distance unless you're part of the same family and you are all non-symptomatic, right? So what do we do now under the conditions that we're in right now? Let's just assume it's less than 10, 6 feet apart if it's outside the family. So we're talking about really the nuclear family or some other interesting situations you might be able to figure out if you're staying more than 6 feet apart. What do we do? What are some of the things we could do right now just to keep interest up, keep rugby awareness going, keep people, parents and kids from destroying the house? Is that what we want to talk about right now?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I think certainly what we're doing, or we wouldn't encourage anybody to stray outside the family. We're in my house here. We have there's 6 of us now hunkered down in the house, but we've gone out and done a couple things. I think we do need to encourage people, parents with their kids at home, to get out, and if they have a rugby ball, use it and run around and pass, or play some other games. There's a lot of things they can do outside. Sort of following what we do with flag rugby, and especially with my group, the little guys, K through second, that they can do mimic a lot of the games that we play, and do that at home, and make sure those kids aren't really forgetting. They may not be able to come out and play with us in the spring, but not to forget the fun that they've had doing those games.
So basically, just keep the drills, or keep the activities, or keep rugby related activities. So how do we do that? I mean, kids have Legos at home. Kids have toys at home. What do we do? What are some of the recommendations? What did you do, Steve? You said you did a couple things at home. What did you do?
Well, so yeah, we went outside and we played Sharks and Minnows, which also called Bulldog. I mean, a game that's been around for a long time and a lot of people like. It can be challenging playing with only 2 people. If it's one parent and one child, it's basically one player running across the field without getting their flags pulled or being touched. And if they do get their flag pulled or touched, where they would lose both flags or get touched twice, they end up going from a minnow to a shark. The shark is a player that's in the middle of the field. So we had one of my kids in the middle of the field, and the other 3 were running across playing until they got stopped along the way. And we made a video of it, so we're hoping to put that video up where we can share it with our families, and they can watch and see it, and hopefully make a few more and inspire them a little bit more along the way.
I'm actually sharing it right now. So that's a great
awesome.
idea.
Really good.
Right. So that's a great idea, right, guys? It's remind people that it's important to get out there, get fresh air, and if there's nothing else you could do, get some drills going, right?
Yeah, definitely. And there's a lot of things too. One of the games that we're going to be doing next is Eagle's Nest, or Steal the Eggs, or whatever you want to call it. And we do it with 10 or 15 rugby balls, and people may not have those, but they can do tennis balls or baseballs or softballs, something else to just give the kids repetition in doing some of the things. Passing drills would be very difficult without a rugby ball, but some of the other things they can do and have the same kind of fun.
I think this is awesome. I love that the idea of just putting videos out. Not anyone can link to videos, but us as coaches putting in the work, putting our faces on, so the kids identify that we're putting in the work. Maybe give them a challenge, have them throw back a video. It's great. It keeps everyone engaged. And the videos are awesome. I saw Daniel made some awesome videos. Anna, I still didn't see Anna's.
Anna's is good. Yeah.
Yeah, I still gotta get to that, but I think they do an awesome job with that. And Daniel was poo-pooing his was great too.
That was good. They were all good. They're fun. I think too, just putting it out there, giving parents an idea. They may have been out to the practices and watched it, but just a few directions along the way, and narrating a little bit about the game that you're playing, just tell them what they need to do. And if teams want to do that and post them, and we can put a little 4 or 5 bullets above or below the video, just saying these are the key things. Hands up, eyes ahead, or communications. A couple of little things that we can give them to make it make sure they're talking a little bit about the rugby along with the game. I think it would be great.
Absolutely.
And you know what? I just fell in love with that idea when we were thinking about what can we do? What should we do to be able to keep kids active and involved in rugby? I think the thought of, since we are a team and we're coaches, extending ourselves out, because it's kind of like the new normal right now. It's look at what we're doing. We're hanging out. We're discussing. We're having fun together, but kind of alone. If we can provide some of these videos that are drills that are just a few kids, put them out there. I just thought that was such a great idea. What are some of the other things that a club can do to keep its kids sort of in the rugby spirit? I heard lending some balls out.
Yeah, I think that's something we can do. It goes back to like, how do we be safe about it, right?
Right.
But we can get the balls, make balls available. We have a bag full of new balls, never been opened. If people want to use them, they're welcome to come and grab some and use them with their kids. If they want to borrow some cones, we have stacks of cones. They can take those and set them up and do it. I think even encouraging parents and families, if they want to make some videos of games that they do at home, or just pictures of their kids, and share them to our Facebook page and get everybody involved a little bit as well.
I love that. I love the challenge, because kids are, they're on FaceTime. They're doing all the, videos of themselves. They're looking to do TikTok and all that stuff. So it's just one more thing, we're creating a rugby themed TikTok. My club. So I'm giving out balls to everyone, just because, I got all of my, every grade was sponsored, and I had all new balls made up, and it's just a way of getting those balls out into the hands, getting them into the wild, doing a service to my sponsors. And they're all on open. So it's like, that was a no-brainer to me. And like I said, I'm having, problems with registration and stuff. So it's just the best thing that we can do anyways. Then the next time I'll fight for new sponsorship.
Yeah, and you know what? And I love the idea of just telling parents, take an iPhone, get out there, record your favorite drill that you did back in college and how you adapted it, or senior side, whenever it is that you played, adapt it to for the family. And all you need is an iPhone, and it gets everybody out there, it gets everybody involved. It keeps everybody, keeps rugby in the mind. They stay sort of aware and sort of energized about rugby in these times where we would be outside hanging out and having fun with everybody. So, all right. So some clubs may or may not be able to lend balls out, get videos out so the community, the parents and the kids can have ideas of what to do. Encourage them to make their own quick little videos. And Anna's video, I think she handed the phone to one of her little ones and then just got in front of the camera with her other little one. So the videographer was actually one of the children, and it came out great. It was a fun little video, and I went out and played it with my kids and had a great time. Because at this point, we just need excuses, to get out there, and ideas to get out there and do stuff, right?
Definitely, yeah.
So, what are some of the other things we can do during this lockdown? We're an outdoor sport, man, and we're a full contact, in your face type of sport. So, what are some of the other things we could do? Those are some good ones. Is there anything else, or is that a little bit of a wrap?
Well, what we might be able to do, I don't know as much maybe with the flag as players as maybe with middle school and high school, but if anybody's turned on ESPN lately, you're not watching any new live sports at all, but you are seeing the best of. There's some great games, so there's a ton of great sevens get matches that we could link and encourage people to watch and check out. And if they can't be out playing with us, at least maybe they can watch some of the great games. And there's a lot of games with great commentary, and maybe post some clips or some things up there as well. Really anything just to keep our Facebook page popping up as often as we can on people's feeds, and keeping them keeping it all front of mind with them.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one, Steve. Just if you just scroll through YouTube, there's tons and tons of games available online. Real international or level games, and some of them are just fantastic. We have a list of our favorites in our house, and then on top of that, there's skills videos too, right? If you keep on digging in there, there's videos about skills, and there's other educational type videos that have some interest in well. And I continue to see these posted on Twitter. If you're following some of the rugby teams and some of the personalities, a lot of folks are starting to post skills and drills videos, or other just discussion videos. We one of our favorites was the Amazon Prime series about the All Blacks, All or Nothing, the All Blacks. We watched that, and there's a Dan Carter just came out with a movie. He's one of the best fly halves of all times. We watched that one as well. So there's tons and tons of content available. There's no shortage of rugby. Our house is all rugby all the time. We're glued to the live games every weekend, and we still have plenty of rugby to watch. It doesn't end really.
Yeah, definitely.
That's awesome, Chris.
I think that the key is just keeping it out there, keep it positive through this. We gotta be we gotta keep it a positive things for these kids instead of going crazy and breaking things.
Yeah, you know what else I would say about this too is we go out and we watch the Dan Carter. Dan Carter came out with a movie this year, and afterwards the kids want to go kick, so we grab the ball and we go to the local football field and we go kick at goals, right? And all the kids are into it. The little one, the medium one, and the big one are all into this sort of thing, and it's sort of an inspiration. And you can sort of mock what you do and turn it into a game. When you go outside the backyard, or if you're able to go to a field. A lot of them are closed right now, but we've got a couple that are still open. So it's sort of inspiration, and and it just sort of gets the spirit going.
Yeah, that's what we need. That's exactly what we need.
Yep, absolutely. Anything possible that keeps the momentum going, the focus. All right, have we run this one dry just yet? Is there anything else?
No way, Dan. I've got some more. I've got a couple more.
Go. Tell me.
I mean, I'm really excited. I mean, I'm racking our brain. I can't get over enough that this is our life. So one is that we downloaded Rugby 20, the video game. I don't know if you've seen the Free Jacks have turned into this virtual game, but in addition to that, the kids can play Rugby 20, a video game on whatever media they want, Xbox, and you can play against your friends, virtually through the internet, right? Yeah,
Wait,
exactly.
This is an Xbox game?
Yeah, it's an Xbox game, and it's really, really good. I mean, it looks like a game. I didn't get the chance to watch the Free Jacks. Free Jacks have this virtual game against the Toronto Arrows this past week, but they, all the MLR teams are playing these virtual games against each other. But the kids can do it as well, right? So you can get the game. We can play with each other in our family. You can play against other people through the internet as well. And it's pretty solid game. I think they've done pretty well this year.
So
that's pretty cool.
So I did see the Free Jacks put that out there, and I was trying to do it, but there was a lot going on. I participate. I went to they had those virtual coach classes, right? And they have some virtual player classes also. So I did those, and then I saw this virtual game thing, and I wasn't sure what they were talking about. So you're saying that there's an Xbox game called Rugby 20, and so did they take each player took their own position in the game?
No, actually, each team nominates a player to play the game, and each MLR team gets an international team. So the Free Jacks are Wales, and they had to play a game against, I think, Canada, which was the Toronto Arrows for Canada, which makes sense. And so they played a game together, and one of the Free Jacks played against one of the Toronto Arrows, and it was the same thing across the entire league. So I thought that was a pretty clever solution. I mean, I think it, and like I said, it got us to get Rugby 20 and start playing ourselves. But I thought that was a pretty clever way to sort of keep things going that MLR came up with.
Well, that is a very clever thing, and I'm going to set up a tournament bracket.
Yes.
And I'm challenging
Yes.
every single one
Yep.
of you guys. We're all going into that. If you have an
Yeah.
Xbox, if you have
Daniel,
an
I'm
Xbox,
ordering the game today. We'll be ready.
after this is, you know what, guys? I think I'm going to call this recording short today because I got to go downstairs and I got to do stuff. I think I hear my wife calling me. I'm going down there after this. I'm just so lucky that I have, so psyched that I got an Xbox because the kids kept like bothering me for it. All right, so if you have an Xbox, X up a little bit later in channel, and you're in the bracket. And then I don't know, Steve. We might take one of our best, players from our team and challenge, the Sharks. And it better be a child playing versus a child. Like I'll set up a bracket. And Shaggy, actually, don't you have some experience in setting up servers of certain sorts? Like, aren't you good at doing like virtual tournaments and games type of thing?
I ran a Minecraft server, but it was a total anarchy Minecraft server. So I just had to reset it every 2 days or so.
So you are the perfect commissioner for our league. I think you're probably if you have to throw the brackets out every week and redo the brackets entirely, I'm good with that. All right, guys. So sorry, I don't want to keep going on with this, but I just lost my mind. So Chris, keep going, man, because where you brought us was absolutely awesome. So keep going. So a virtual rugby, playing it on Xbox. What else you got for us?
Well, I was really interested in, I'm interested in what other, either academies or teams or the USA Eagles are doing. And one of the things the Eagles have been doing the last couple of days, I don't know if you've seen it, is they take an Eagle and you can type in questions and they'll get up. They're calling it Eagle Squawk Box. And an Eagle. So yesterday it was Cody Melfi, who's who's a recent addition to the Eagles sevens team the last couple of years. And you get on there and you type him some questions and he talks a little bit about himself. You get to know him. And then he talks a little bit about what he's doing for training right now, and so that's pretty cool. I haven't been able to do it live, but I watch it afterwards. And today it was a women's Eagle player, Lona Mar. Similarly, so I'm really impressed. And when somebody's doing it right, when somebody is actually being creative and using this time to sort of create something new, I want to applaud it, and I think it's really working, right? So if you want to interact with an Eagle, if that's what you're into, it does seem like it's for kids, a lot. Then we can do that. I'm sure they're going to continue to add to that series. It's just been the last couple days they've done a couple, and it looks like they're going to continue it on. But that's pretty cool. It's the type of digital content that people are creating new in this sort of vacuum of rugby rugbiness that's happening right now.
Yeah, I love it. We're not. It's funny because you just put your finger on it. We're not the only ones that are. I don't want to say starving for content, but we're not the only ones that are trying to figure out what to do to be able to engage in something that's really important to a lot of us lives, right? It's what we've chosen to be our we use our time of leisure in, or our sport, or in many cases it's a lot more. It's taken over our lives. So it's really neat. I didn't think about it that way. We're trying to figure out what to do here for ourselves and the kids, and you're absolutely right. Other organizations, entire leagues are probably facing the same challenges, and we probably can keep our eyes open to what are other leagues doing, what are other really good ideas that other things are doing, in order to be able to maybe borrow from that, right? That makes sense.
Exactly. Perfect segue to Rhinos Rugby Academy. I'm sure some of you guys know that some of my kids, all my kids, have been affiliated with this academy that's run out of Orange County in California, and they are generating some online content, including for the older kids, for my 10th grader, a remote training program where a remote, weight and skills training program they're going to launch next week. And so, like, how great it is this, they were working on it already anyway, but how great is it that, while we're sitting here and we've got nothing to do, that there's an academy out there that's creating this content that's going to, make use of this idle time the kids have. I think it's going to be heavy on sort of not weight training, but like physical and fitness training. So it might not be right for the kids that are younger. I'll see, because I have kids from age 8 to age 15. But it's just exactly what we're trying to do. And we can learn from maybe the bigger organizations that maybe have a little bit of a head start. I think so far, so when I find out what it is next week when it launches, I might be able to give you more information. But the other the other academies are also sort of releasing similar content about skills and drills and videos to watch. But we'll keep our eyes peeled for this remote training program. It's a really good idea for the bigger kids.
Yeah, that's
That's
well
a great
done.
organization. I mean, beat that.
Yeah, we've been involved with it for quite some time. We could do a whole show on it later, but in particular right now, what are they doing? They got all these tournaments that got canceled right here. You're seeing this, right? At least Evans, we barely snuck in. South Africa canceled, Portugal canceled, Tropical Sevens canceled. What are they doing? Remote training program. They're making it work. They also have a homeschool program where kids work out and do homeschooling. They've already gone virtual. They went virtual before our local public schools went virtual. And
Yeah.
they're pretty good about being flexible and adaptable and overcoming adversity. That's one thing that they're doing here. But the reason why I bring it up is it's not all about them. They're just one academy that just is making the best out of a bad situation. And so are we, right? With our own
Right.
videos and with our own conversation. And but we can, we could sort of take some ideas from them sort of fall. We don't have to blaze all the trails ourselves. We can follow in with folks like that. And like I
I
said,
think
you want to do a show on them, I will.
I
Hey,
think this is awesome, but if every club, I think there's a value for every club getting FaceTime in expressly to their player base. I think there's more recognizable structure. I mean, your kids are part of Rhino Rugby Academy, so they obviously they're more more adept to listen and to feel like they belong in the training. But as clubs, I think keeping club identity, and that keeps the kids more engaged because they're thinking about their friends that they're playing with. They're thinking about their coach. They're probably more apt to listen to the coaching plans, and they're more able to feel that it's more personalized. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think,
sure.
yeah. I love it though. I think every club, every sports team that's off season should be doing this. Everyone. I mean, I'm sure everyone can. But insofar
I was
as
just
well,
connecting with your player base, I think that's very important.
I've been
go ahead, Jake. Go, JJ.
yeah, I've been a bit quiet. I've been listening in, and it's all awesome stuff from everyone, and all the ideas and the growing ideas are great. And trying to digest it and think how we. I mean, we're talking on this podcast, and I don't know how many people are listening, but how we go out from here and actually connect that to the kids directly, and really get them to see it and to do it. It's like I send out an email, and I'm hoping the parents look at it, and I'm hoping the kids then look at it, but I don't actually know if they are. So I've really got no feedback anywhere. And Facebook is great and Instagram's great, but I'm just a new clubber, so I don't get a lot of the feedback. But I'm not sure with the more established clubs, when you do that, how do you gauge how effective you're communicating that and how they're receiving it and also doing it, or is there, is there something more we need to do to encourage that, or maybe create that channel so we know that we're getting through?
Let me, I mean, not that I'm more a super established club, but let me just say, no one listens to me. The only way that anyone communicates is if they're compelled by competition and all this training. Yeah, as a club, I want to get these things out. I want to, we all want to get these videos out, but without some kind of competition, some kind of something, it's not gonna keep them engaged. And I think honestly, I think tying in a video game, like competitive video game, is great. I think that's the one component that I think is missing from this remote training is direct competition. And you can either do videos or something like that. But insofar as communication, yeah, I don't get that.
Yeah, you know what's
They
interesting
just show
though?
up.
So I'm gonna
Yeah,
push. Yeah,
you're
I'm
right.
I'm gonna push a couple of things together. I'm gonna have them crash together. We'll see if it works or not. JJ, I feel you, man. I completely get it. I get it. You do all this. You push it out to the parents. You put resources out to the parents. Maybe you have a really well thought out X, Y, and Z. So you've got a really awesome cog widget, whatever it is. You push it out to the parents, and it's like crickets, crickets, crickets. What do you do to actually have adoption? Because we could sit here and we could plan out some marvelous things, but if nobody's listening, who cares? It's the best laid plans that go to nowhere. Um, and Shaggy, you kind of shone the light on something, and I think corporate America, other things have been looking into the gamification. Some people like that term, some people just think it's way overused. Chris, you were talking about being able to use like a rewards program. Is this a time to sort of design something like that? What's this rewards program I think you mentioned at one point?
Yeah, that's a really good idea. I think it works really well with the young kids that if they, if you were to give them challenges, right? If you were to give them a challenge to, let's say it's make a drop goal from 10 meters, and they were to get maybe either points or a badge based on that, and the coach could keep score. Additionally, maybe if they could do, making these analogies to soccer, but if you could juggle a few times, or if you did some sort of passing drills where you could pass a ball into a circle, and you sort of went in and logged on, or logged on to some Google document or something like that, and you would log on and log the activities that you did, whether it was a skills or some sort of time and drills, or even if it was exercise for the kids as they get a little bit older, and they would accumulate either points or badges, and you could give them away. I've done a past before where we give away trading cards, and sometimes it's just points, and points work for some kids. Sometimes it's stickers, and in one case, my kids really responded well to these little patches, just these little patches, just a little patch of a ball, and they would collect them, and it was meaningless, and they cost pennies on the dollar, but the kids would collect them, and they'd get their patch, and they'd be super thrilled about it. So there's a website, I think it's iSoccer, that does it for soccer, but I don't know if anybody does it for rugby. But it's a really good idea, just a way of saying, here's 10 drills, do them over the course of a week, and then if you make all the challenges, you accumulate all these points, and then you come and then you win, right? So that's a really good point there, Dan.
So the one thing that I was thinking about is it's one thing to talk about a plan or a gamification and having an achievement, whether you call them chievies, achievements, which a lot of video games are doing right now, or whether it's a badge, a reward, a scale, black, different sort of belts, unlocking, whatever it is. I mean, those make a lot of sense for being able to execute certain skills. Could we somehow leverage that thinking into being able to build up these points or get these badges if kids accomplish things during this down season? So it gives them something to look forward to. It gives them and then it does another thing that I think JJ was touching upon. It's can we use this time to build something that will make it that much easier to bridge to the parents and the players, so that if a coach does have new information about a tournament, has new information about practices or whatever, we the team is not just practiced at rugby, but is practiced at getting the information and using that information. So is this kind of like a blessing in disguise? Can we use this time to get people to be more? Sorry, go.
That's where my thoughts were at exactly, Daniel. I'm sort of glad you picked up on that.
Yep.
It was do I go to the Centaurs site, do I go to Shark site, do I go Rentham site, or is everyone in Massachusetts tapped into the same site so it's more efficient, right? So you know what I'm saying? Because we're sort of losing and we're not leveraging, and we don't have so much scale individually, but as a mass, excuse the pun, right?
Yeah.
As a mass.
Well, you know what? I
got-
go ahead. Keep going.
No, you keep going. I think
All right.
you're on the same page. So
I couldn't agree with you more, but I think unfortunately in the real world we're seeing the opposite. So it would be awesome if right now, because everything is down, kids could log into a central site. Everybody's used to going to a central site and then from there going to their individual club sections, for their practices or information that their coaches. But if everybody was well practiced in going to a site to get their information, watch some videos, maybe put up some videos that they just made with their parents, do something that gets them closer to the next bat. I mean, I think that would be awesome if that central website was awesome and fantastic. The problem in real practice is that the central body that would get us to that would own that would probably be Miro. Sorry, it would be Miro. But look at Miro's website, and I don't want to bring down the conversation, okay? But I think at some point we need to have a very clear, after we've had a couple of shows, we are going to have an episode on what do you want your local area union, or I think in youth it's called Shaggy. What do you call it? Or JJ? What's
SRO?
SRO. Like, what should an SRO do for you, right? And I think one of them would be have an incredible presence, have somebody that's responsible for gamifying things, for keeping things going, so people are used to going to that central place and getting not just information but also being part of a community. And I mean, is it something like now we can do now? We can do something now to start getting kids into that. I mean, we've got the Discord channel, and it has the channels from each one of the different clubs. Do we want to get an achievement process going in there? And kids, if you and your parents make a video, post it up onto Discord, because then all the other kids are going to be able to see it. Does it have to be good? No, it just gets them out there and making stuff. Who knows? Maybe one every 5 or 10 or 100 ends up being an absolute gem, and now everybody in Miro is using it in their regular practices because it was an amazing game. Drill game. So I like the idea. I don't know. Is it something we want to push? I mean, that would help us survive, COVID right now. Is everybody, get into Discord and talk about what it is that you as a player, not just coaches, but you as a player, you as a parent did that help you get through another day, right? Does that make sense? Yes, no, maybe? I already talked everybody out. Is this microphone working?
Yep.
Yes.
Here, everyone.
Chris, so that's kind of working off of your idea of, it was an achievement point. So what was it called?
Well, I don't know.
Rewards
I call it
programs. Rewards
Yeah.
programs.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we can call it whatever you want. I call it cool points. Right?
Cool points.
But you can call it whatever we want.
Yeah.
Can you hear Steve? Okay.
Do I hear Steve? Okay. No,
Yep.
Don't hear Steve at all. Hold on a second.
I hear you okay, Steve.
Well, let me just say then. So we were probably days away before this comes out for having our our central sports Lomo going up. Statewide, nationwide, actually through USA Rugby, and that's all hit the fan. I think the centralization of the sport is it's really in quite a bit of disarray at just about every level right now. So anything that we or anyone that's actively attempting to find solutions or out of this chaos can do is helpful. Any actions, any kind of coordinated actions would be helpful. So I would say absolutely, it's an idea, and if there's motivation behind it,
Yeah,
just do it. I've failed a
yeah,
million times. It's all good.
Shag, I just put up a link, and I spent probably, I don't know, 45 minutes or so on my YouTube channel for Centaurs, and I put in a number of categories, and one of them's including a podcast. Another one is some drills have been run in Singapore under Centaurs during what they've come up with the same problem and social distancing. So they've started a buddy series on a number of just drills, games or skill movements, etc., that are coming out. But I look, I suppose setting it up for Myra would take not long either, right? Whether I'm doing it under mine or just a YouTube channel under Myra, which is more central.
I wonder
I
if
think
I'm sorry.
go ahead.
I'm
Steve,
wondering
go.
if for a quick win, if what we want to do is maybe try to get something out on Facebook. I mean, Facebook is something that's there. We have active pages. People are familiar with it. It'd be something easy to call out. Yeah, I can call out the Sharks or say, "Hey, look what our players did." Like, what are your third and fourth graders doing? Or,
Yeah,
I,
good one.
just something to engage other clubs, and that way we talk about getting cross club interaction. Maybe we can get some
Yeah.
players up and doing it. We can even toss. At least here on our end, we could toss a ball as a prize or a team shirt or do something to as a motivation. Who had the best video of the week or who did the best had the best challenge or anything along those lines. So it gets all the clubs involved. It's a format parents are already probably on or following us, hopefully, and might be a quick way to get some more interaction.
That'd be easy to invite everyone in as well. Invite the clubs in, invite the administrators. I mean, Discord's fantastic, and as an end product, it would probably make the most sense for like but I think we're all old. We like Facebook. Old people like Facebook.
Yeah. Well, the kids don't though. The kids are making TikTok videos, but it's fine because they're all
Yeah.
connected, right?
Yeah, they
Just
are.
make their videos on TikTok, and they can share them.
That's a great idea. I mean, that's probably the right way to do it. I mean, engage them on a format that they're familiar with. The age group that has access to it and would be using it, and then maybe the parents with younger kids engage them on Facebook or try to get them to upload it in a different way.
So the
Yeah,
problem,
and they have.
the problem that
Uh,
I'm seeing, or no, wait, sorry, it's a very small problem. So a kid, whatever the kid wants to put it up, they go out in the backyard, they throw the ball around, they make a little TikTok, they make a little tick tick, they make a diddle, whatever platform they want to use, right? Whatever they're going to use next week, that's fine, and it's out there for the whole world to see, but the next kid down the block or the next town over that's in the other team doesn't know that kid put it up there. So it's great that you're broadcasting and you're opening up your back door and you're yelling it out into the world. But, individual kids that want to see this or that are part of our league don't know this. So that's where they should probably go over to Discord, drop it into Discord, say, hey guys, I put up my video or I did X, Y, and Z in whatever social platform that I use, but I'm dropping it into Discord so everybody else finds out about it. So I think we should. I think the time has come to start pushing, especially now that there's nothing to do. We're stuck in in COVID lockdown. It's probably the best time to start getting the players, the families, everybody, just go over to Discord. You're gonna find a channel for your own club. We own a Discord, so if we need more channels, if we need more roles, if we need more ideas, if we need more stuff, we'll go ahead and throw it in there. And if we want to gamify it somehow, let's go ahead and figure out a way of doing it, you know. And as Steve said, you know, once a week, you know, we get together and we all decide, you know, who put the most interesting or the most, you know, quote unquote best. That can be defined in any way we want. You know, who put up a video that's worthy of distinction. And by the way, kid, here you go. You're getting a, you know, you're getting a gizmo, you know, a badge, a pat on the back, whatever it is, you know. Does that make sense? I'm liking that. I'm liking that a lot.
Yeah, me too. I don't know the media yet, but I love the idea because it sort of solves the problem Shaggy was talking about earlier, that nobody listens to. You know who they do listen to? Each other. And if they're
Yep.
challenging each other and
Right.
they're posting it and they're like hashtag
Yep.
barbarians or hashtag, you know, Myro, whatever it might be, and if they're challenging each other, now you're going to drive engagement because that's how they go. And whether we put it on a Facebook site or in Discord, maybe yet to be seen how it works out, but it would take nothing just for one of us to post a video of somebody doing something and you know, and tag some people in it and say, hey, I did this. And I think that's a one way that these videos seems to be sort of gaining momentum and driving engagement. I'm sorry about the corporate jargon there, but that's kind of that's the word I know.
Yep. Well, you know what? I might do a real quick video after all this is done, maybe next week. Well, no, tomorrow, as soon as possible. A real quick rundown of how Discord works, just for people that are not familiar with it, so that if you are a shark parent, if you are, you know, wolfhound, if you are, you know, a centaur child, coach, whatever, you get a rundown of how it works. And then just, you know, maybe, you know, through this surviving COVID-19, we can build culture and we can build camaraderie across the different clubs. Because I mean, that's the one thing that I really enjoy about rugby. I'm sitting here, I'm technically talking to the coaches that I should be adversary to, and I find you guys as some of my best friends, best collaborators, and people that I want to share all the, you know, all my secrets. You know, there's no secrets. The secret is, you know, yeah, exactly. And I love the fact that in rugby, that's the camaraderie aspect of it is huge. You see it at every level, and the videos are inspiring. You know, after World Cups, after whatever, they go shake hands. You know, it's not like a lot of the professional teams that we see nowadays where they shake hands with their own team and never go and give any recognition to the other team. So yeah, I'm liking this a lot. So that's another way that we can help, you know, get us through surviving COVID-19 is start pushing people over to Discord, get involved in Discord, see what people are doing, have fun, stay connected to what's going on in rugby through Discord. All right, I feel like I cut somebody off. Anything else on that?
No, let me. I just want to say
Yep.
I'm very new to this since you started this the Discord platform, and I think it's great. You know, just getting people to know it. I think it's more conducive to the gaming environment, you know, than Facebook, because you can directly. There's a lot more direct involvement in it. And I'd be, you know, I'm on board. I'd be happy to send out a link to you know, to my club, whoever wants to be involved in that. I think
Go right
work
ahead.
out great.
Go ahead. Use the space, and if you need any more channels or anything for sharks, sky's the limit, man. We have a special on those. We can, you know, I can get a dozen in there if you need. All right. Anything
Excellent.
else? Anything else on surviving COVID-19? I mean, I feel like we could go
You
on
know,
forever. Go, Steve.
no, well,
Or Chris.
it was me, Chris, but I probably the last idea was way better, so I don't think that I don't think we can touch it with a new idea. But in a similar way, is that if kids did things together, like we can't all get together and watch a video, like we said, a game like the New Zealand versus Ireland game in 2018. We can't watch it together, but if there's a way we could virtually watch it together and be talking about it, you know, it would drive maybe just a community of 10 kids, you know, a certain night. Kids are kind of looking for that. I'm noticing that they're sort of getting each other on FaceTime or Skype, and they're sort of creating play dates for each other.
Yep.
And maybe there's a way to sort of create a play date over rugby movie, like I said earlier. Perfect 10 was a good one, or the All Black special, or some game, and we could all talk about each other. People could chat about it. I don't know if it would go over. I don't think it's as good idea as the last one, but I was like, it's one way that you can actually sort of tell. You can sort of measure who's engaged and who's not, because you can see, hey, there was 10 people online all watching this game at the same time, chatting about it. It might be an idea. It's pretty simple. It wouldn't be hard to get kids to get together around at the same time and watch something on YouTube. So it might be another idea worth exploring.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea, and also, it speaks to the clubs reaching out to the families as well. I mean, it's not just the kids; it's going to be the parents that are watching what we do and seeing what we offer, and what kind of value or community our clubs form and what we form together. So I think anything like that we offer, if you think, like, I'm here with 4 kids right now at home, and if one of the sports teams or organizations was offering a way to help keep them engaged, even if it's something I may not be able to do, I'm going to appreciate that, and I'm going to see what they're doing. So I think any kinds of things like that we can offer are great.
Good point.
So, Chris, I wouldn't poo-poo that at all, and I'd say there's actually certain platforms are already working on that. So yeah, I mean, everybody point to the big nerd that's been a geek for all his life. The concept of watching things together apart is actually pretty common. I think right now, I think Netflix and I think YouTube, and I know that Facebook are doing the watch together, where everybody loads a particular thing they're going to watch, and you're all separate. Like right now, we could all load on something, and then somebody becomes like the director or whatever it's called. They hit go, and it starts at the same time for everybody. And if it for some reason
Wow.
it lags for one person, it'll stop it lag for everybody. So you all stay around the same. You all watching at the same time, and then you get on Discord, so you can all heckle the movie at the exact same time.
Yeah.
So suddenly you're turning, like, the news into the Rocky Horror Picture Show, because a big part of it is the only way you're going to know that I'm there watching it with you is if I start making fun of the guy that just walked in, or the guy's mustache
Right.
or whatever. So I don't know whether that's is a segue that you planted there or not, but what you're talking about is actually, I didn't even think about doing it for this, but what you're talking about is not, it's out there. And actually now I think I need to really reach out and get it for my kids, do it for my kids with some of their friends, and now do it with some of the other rugby kids out there. And I think you could basically just post to Facebook or something. I'm going to start a so-and-so tomorrow or next week or whatever, whoever wants to watch with. So let's go in and look at it.
I think
and
it's called
then
a watch party.
a watch party. Exactly. I don't, some different platforms call it different. But let's all go in and see if we can find it.
So I have a question, because I've just been listening again. As you can see, I'm a bit more quiet this time around. So it's a suggestion that Discord would be a good platform for everyone to be on. Is that like the idea?
I think that's what we agreed on, right? I mean,
Okay.
I'm associated. I for other games and stuff, I'm on Discords that has thousands of people in it.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm just, I suppose, again, I'm back to that parents, kids, what do they get on? And when I think about what do they get on, I think about what do they already have on their phone, firstly, because trying to get them to download new stuff is often challenging, because we've all got so many apps on our devices.
A lot of kids already have Discord. Like most of my kids' friends already have Discord.
Okay.
And it's funny.
Just raising it, because I'm not that I know the answer.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I think. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna agree too that we haven't figured it out yet if it's gonna work for everybody. But let's see what happens. Let's give it a shot. But yeah, Discord doesn't seem user friendly for my little guys. And so I've got some skepticism, but like, let's try it, see what happens. And if there's a better media out there, I'm all ears.
Personally, I'm loving the Discord platform. I just have had some time to get on it and use it, and like us all, I think we all appreciate the platform works really well. I just know how hard it is to get people to pick up a new app.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you. It can be a bit of a challenge.
So,
All
Not
right.
sure. What? And while you were all talking, I just posted onto the Myro Facebook page. I don't know if anyone picked up on that because I tagged the names in.
What did you
Right.
do? What did you do?
So I posted our drills at home, one of the YouTube clips that had been done
Okay.
or something. I said, got any ideas for at-home training sessions and games during COVID-19? Please send them in. We'd love to share them.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I'm still working back to there is a central platform there. Right?
Yeah.
We should use it. It's there already.
Which central platform are you talking
Well,
about?
we got Myro onto Facebook, right?
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
all the clubs are still forming under Myro, you know.
Yep.
And you know my grievances as well. So it's not like I'm the first person to be saying this, but it is there. It is a platform there to use. How do we get access to it? Can we also become administrators on it? Can we have more administrators? Can
Well,
we
you
have
know
more
what?
people getting onto that platform? Because at the moment, it really is being operated by on a sort of minimalistic basis, I suppose.
Yep.
We may not be creating the full potential. It'll take 5 minutes to set up a YouTube and attach it, a YouTube channel and attach it to start pulling that stuff in. Whether Discord comes in as Myro, I don't know how all that fits together.
Hey, if
Um,
Myra wants to start their own Discord, they're free to do it. I will help in any way that I can. The
and I
reason
think
that I like Discord is because you get two-way, and not just two-way, you get multiple way communication. Whereas Facebook, you do get some of the two-way when people respond to you, but it's not as interactive, and it doesn't have comms. It doesn't have comms the way Discord does.
what about just throwing something else in there? And I don't know. I know that in Singapore, pretty much everyone got onto TeamSnap in the rugby community. So if you're in the rugby community, had a kid playing, you're on TeamSnap. So you knew that every community member was on TeamSnap. I know that probably only 60% of my members are on Facebook. So I only reach so many people, and probably only half that actually probably check it regularly. So I know Facebook is limited in its communication as well. Do you know about TeamSnap in maths and rugby?
Yeah,
And
so
and
Steve,
what the
we
potential
looked
of that
into it,
is?
right? I know that that's the way that I ran the Providence men and the Providence women when I coached them. The problem is that it was free at that point, and now it's nowhere near free anymore. Is that is
Mm,
that
Right.
is that
That's
right,
right.
Steve?
Yeah, Alan had looked into
Yeah.
that. Actually, it was pretty pricey for a year. You know, we're talking about, we have 5-6 different teams across the age groups, and having all of them on that platform is very pricey. So we actually use something called Team App, which, you have a few ads, ad banners on it, but it's free. It seemed to be really good. We used it in the fall. We're hoping to, utilize it fully here in the spring, and we've used it. Alan has used it especially for some communication. But we put up news. We've had families post photo albums, like link things up into it. I think there's a lot of potential, like JJ said, to use that as a means for communication. That's certainly what we're doing for our club. To get everybody to agree on one app may be
God,
challenging.
God, I'm just thinking to myself because Shaggy and I, we're all aware of the new system coming. All right, Sports
Right.
Lono.
Right.
Maybe you don't even know at this point.
Oh yeah, we don't even know, but yeah, I suppose
It's
there's a
crazy
lot.
right now.
Anyway, there's a
So
number of things
that's
on the
exactly
table.
why
That's
we need-
another podcast, maybe.
Yeah, yeah.
that's
All right,
exactly
so
why I
let,
say
let's
if
let's
anyone's motivated right now, just do it. Like, so Daniel, if you feel strongly about putting a Discord channel together, and I mean I'm looking up, by looking through what Discord can do, you can, we can store all YouTube videos, so you can, we could have an entire training session on one particular page. It's essentially, it looks like, a low, it's just like a good a good place to store everything and refer back to. I think it's, it'd be good for that purpose. And using, even if Facebook is our main form of communication to coordinate between clubs, a link back to something with with 20 drills that we can control and not have to go through 3 different people is preferable in my mind anyways. Because who knows what's going to happen higher up. It's only like if anyone's motivated right now, it's that person doing things that's going to make the difference.
Right. All right, so I'll tell you what. Let me bring it back to let's get away from that discussion. Bring it back to the topic that we're discussing. And that is surviving COVID-19. We got to transition to post COVID-19, but surviving COVID-19. Yeah, let's go ahead and see if we can gamify our lockdown in one way or another. Basically, a rewards program. If you want to come up with it with your own club, that's fine. I think the first one we should probably do is the video of the week. Everybody put your video anywhere. I don't care where. Put it on TikTok, on Tickety Talk, on Facebook, on whatever it is, YouTube, and just go into Discord and tell us that it's there. If you go into Discord, you tell us that it's there, then everybody can see. Well, everybody that goes into Discord will know that it's there, and people that are going to be in Discord will be part of our league and are going to be your friends, your teammates, or your mate that you're going to be playing against. If we were playing, so let's start with the rewards program. By pushing that once a week, we'll figure out what the kid gets, as you said, a little badge, maybe you can silk screen something or other that can go on your jersey, although jerseys, you don't keep them. Whatever, we'll figure something out. It seems like that's a fun thing to be able to push parents and kids to get outside, record videos, stay involved in rugby, then go into Discord, which keeps you involved in the community, then allows you to see what's going on with other people. I think those are some good ideas, and on Discord or wherever you're going to find out of, the Rugby 20, bracket that you're in, so we can go ahead and start playing each other and virtually, thumping our chests about how good we are. That's what I'm seeing as good things to do, and then we'll figure out these watch parties, where through YouTube or Netflix or whatever, we'll throw in a movie, or maybe it is, a sevens tournament of some sort, the last World Cup or the one before that, or the Fiji whatevers and this and that's whatever. But like some really great sevens that we'll all get to sort of watch together and heckle together. Let's see who can come up with the best diss on whoever's shorts or something. That'd be fun too. All right, so what more do we have on surviving COVID? We went pretty far on this, but I think it's because we were sort of riffing off of each other. Now that we've survived COVID, let's say we're starting to emerge through COVID. Some of the restrictions are being lifted. Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut are starting to lift some of these restrictions. USA Rugby was as clear as they could be, and we found that there's a sliver of when it is that we can start. And we've done things like we've gotten more people into Discord. We spent a lot of time watching videos, being friends with one another, sharing with one another. What happens now? Now we're getting into post-COVID. When does post-COVID starts? And I love the fact that before the show even started, it sounded to me like some of these coaches were hedging their bets and trying to find out who had a field that they could go raid so that they could practice together and or maybe play against each other. But it's not really playing. It's because we saw some kids there and we saw some balls. So what is post COVID, and how much do we want to squeeze every last second, get out there just that much sooner? Where do we push the margin? When does it start? Go Steve.
I think the biggest thing is going to be just when do we get the green light? Like when are we officially ready to go? And let's pretend it is June 1st. So June 1st, we have to maybe even think ahead of that time, be in contact with some people and think about, we have some jamborees, we have the Bay State games. Are we going to be able to do it? And to be quite frank, the Bay State games is an expensive tournament. I would love to have a team together and do it, but if we're not getting full enrollment, if we're not having full teams, can we do a pair down Bay State games? Do we need to think about running our own Myro sort of end of season? Do we have an abbreviated season with shortened jamborees? Do we mix sides? So, do we end up doing something like JJ mentioned at the beginning of the year? We don't have a sort of a Bay State game, but we have our own sort of world jamboree where we're mixing and matching and playing each other. I think that's the biggest question. Just how much time is left? What do finances dictate we can do? And then we have to, get moving quick to make it happen.
Yeah, I see coming out of this, the best case scenario, there's going to be a lot of people with really questionable financials coming out of this. The future's past. Things are going to be shaky for a long time, and expensive tournaments. Honestly, I don't think the way our summer structure has been going with back-to-back, tournaments to I don't think the numbers would be there if this breaks in time for a summer season, and I don't think the money's going to be there. So we're really going to have to adapt and just filling the time and keeping things competitive. I think just by the, it's sad to say, but participation is probably going to be, people are going to want to be playing, but things are going to be a lot more difficult for people. And so we gotta be adapting on the fly to things. And I want to get out there as soon as possible, and that doesn't necessarily mean structured gameplay. That means just getting games together, whatever rule set we decide, or pickup game. We'll have liability waivers out and just do it,
Yeah.
And hopefully things all come together, and but there's woes all from top down. USA Rugby, Myro, we're all, the club level, we're all going to be impacted financially. We're all going to be impacted. All the families going to be impacted. So we're still going to have to keep it creative on the other end of this thing.
Yeah, absolutely right. And I don't think we can really see those big jamborees and the big expenses. I mean, what we may be looking at if we get any kind of a sanctioned, organized season is, we have a mixed training and game. It's like, bring a picnic lunch, come to Rentham.
Yep.
We'll practice together 9 to 10. We'll take a little break, and then 11 o'clock we'll start some round robins, or we'll do something. Like you said, just get the kids out there playing. We don't want to lose the year if we don't need to.
It's a great idea. The whole, bring a picnic. Everybody bring a picnic. If you got to pick up and you've got a grill, bring a grill and do up some hamburgers and call it a cheapo or a stone soup type of situation where it's instead of a big giant costly entry fee, we just all show up and, as you said, maybe take a break for lunch, to have a bag lunch, or maybe take a break and go together to the ice cream place down the street, and then double sessions, just so that we can get more practices, more games on the same day. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it's gonna have to be informal. I know my club, when this happened, I ordered a bunch of jerseys and didn't have them personalized, like the flag kids. So there might be some duct tape and markers on the jerseys. That's honestly, that's the way I like it. It's get the kids together, make it safe, make sure we're all covered in case something happens, and then just play, And if we harken back to the league schedule that we were supposed to run in the spring, that might make sense as well. It's just everything, everything's dependent on numbers, and hopefully I'm wrong. And we have 20 times as many kids because everyone's just totally stir crazy, and we're the only, we're the sport that everyone wants to play. But what I see is more likely than not, a lot of these spring sports are going to be pushed off, and the people, and maybe you'll have more sports starting in competition in summer for us. I mean, that seems like the likelihood to me, anyways. Even if they're informal, lacrosse or something.
I'm so probably chiming in on, So what happens post it, and when does it happen after 31st of May, and who's willing to make a call to start it again? And looking at what's happening, we talked about this, and as you know, we connected with Singapore and Hong Kong, who have been going through this since early February, so since Chinese New Year. So they both went through a phase of shutting down schools, working from home, doing what we're doing now, but like 5-6 weeks ago, and stopped all football. They stopped their season. There was some window of opening, so they opened up again and tried to run some, just keep something open for their communities to come in and attend and do some effective non-contact and spaced out and let them keep playing. But they've just had a second wave, which has come in from Europe following the Italian and Spanish thing. So even though they had almost completely eliminated or minimized the new cases, they're back on the front again. And I suppose even for them now, they're financially, they have issues. They're going through all that. They're struggling, and then planning ahead and projecting ahead for future sessions and seasons also becomes very difficult. So I think we brought this up in some discussions about, and like what you've done now, Shag, is incurring costs now, or what costs do we incur, and in advance of when we're planning to do things. So look, based on all that, I would be going for from what you're discussing, it's the no cost commitment solution. It's a no cost commitment solution. It's, as you said, Shaggy, it's, don't commit to anything that's going to cost field space or jerseys or sorry about the door, financial outlays that we don't know if we're going to recover, but have that notion open that we've got something, the infrastructure prepared to do something, and that is, as you said, just get all the kids down to one field somewhere, play some games, whoever's available, and committed.
Yeah, I wonder
That
how. Into that point, JJ, I wonder how many times how I wonder if we are going to see, and how much are we going to see, teams that struggle to get a field, don't know whether they're going to have the money, the kids, because this is one of those situations where they're going to say, okay, ready, go, and we're not going to know till the last minute, I don't think. So it's not like everybody's preparing and reaching out and signing up. It's going to be last minute. So I think the clubs that have very expensive field space, or it's very hard for them, or they're smaller clubs that don't have the financial resources to be able to do that. I think it's going to be pretty common practice this season, where we're going to see those teams just practicing with the next team over, the closest team,
exactly.
that don't have field problems, which is a pity, because in many cases the next team over is not, we're not, this is not soccer where the next league is the next field over in the same town. It's the next town, or 2 or 3 or 5 towns away, right? So it's easy on paper to say, hey guys, we're gonna get going. This is great. We're getting started. We can't use our field, so we're just gonna drive a half hour for each practice.
Yeah, we when we ran the fall
Mhm.
program last year, we had people come from all over the place, and I'm pretty sure that half of the 35, 40 kids that were coming were driving at least half an hour, maybe 40 minutes. I think we may underestimate how passionate
that
our
happens.
Yeah, that's
community
true.
are and would want to be there. I know that we drove down to the Wolfhounds, 45 to an hour, 2 nights a week for a season.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
That's true. Actually, you're
I
right.
have faith. I have faith.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I'll be
agree.
honest, looking at our summer schedule going into, before all this happened, we were overloaded. We had 2 teams that weren't going to be able to host a whole tournament.
Yep.
So, this is happening. It's terrible, but from our growth perspective, it's happening at a good time where we're able to absorb some loss. in the league. If we keep communications together as an informal league as we're going, because we're gonna have to adapt. No matter what happens, there's going to be an adaptation, and yeah, the price, the money's going to be a problem for organizations. Players are going to be problems for organizations. But if we're all, if we act as a community, and even if those kids aren't able to practice and are able to come to games wearing their, four kids straggle in with Sharks jerseys on, then that's a win for the Sharks, on game day. So as long as we all kind of, hunker through this, it'll work. It'll work out. Like I said, we have the growth has been excellent. And rugby in Massachusetts, it was just explode. This was our year. It was exploding.
Yes, it was.
So
yep, absolutely.
It was. And we got to just kind of, as hard as it is, we got to keep some form of that momentum. And I think we will.
There's an interesting thing, Shaggy, because and you guys would probably know better than me, but what other sports traditionally run in the summer?
Not many. It's just us and
So
really.
I would say there is a potential upside here, which is and I know a lot of kids wanted to join our summer program, but were away on camps and traveling and doing other stuff. They're not doing that this year. If summer happens to open up, God willing, and we do have a season there, there could be opportunity for a lot of kids to be involved because they won't be moving around.
Absolutely, especially if we have the season in place and we're not one of those clubs that's going to be adapting, pushing a spring sport forward into summer, because we're going to have, like I said, if our structure's in place and we're together and able to look at the next eventuality a season ahead, then we do have an advantage, and that could help us quite a bit as a team. But then we have more teams,
right?
Then we need two leagues.
Yeah, but that means that as soon as we hear that it's okay to get out there, as a league, or at least as a collection of teams, we have to be able to say, okay, we have a plan in place, and we know that it's going to take us 1 week or 3 days or 2 days to get to mobilize, to go from we didn't know we could start to practices start next week. We need to be, if we have a plan for that, where we can get all the information out to every possible channel, if we can get that, and it's not just one team, but it's multiple teams or an entire league that can do that, then perhaps I think to what JJ was alluding to, perhaps we'll be able to, because if we get word that yes, you can start, and it's right in the middle or towards the end of what a traditional league is for other sports, and they've already completely thrown the entire season out the window, perhaps we can jump in and say, we're ready to start in 5 days. Give us 1 week, we'll get started. And by the way, let's grab all these kids that were going to be doing the soccers, that we're going to be doing the field hockeys, that we're going to be doing all these other sports. Can we move faster, be more flexible, be able to get them faster in, so we can get, kids that have never played it, or even better, or not even better, but in as part of that population, the kids that usually come to us for one season but not the other season, drag those kids in so that we get all the kids that we usually have either one season or another season, and then they bring their friends. If we keep chatting like this, if we keep talking, if we keep figuring out who's got the fields, who doesn't have the fields, how are you going to do it, where are we going to post, how are we going to get this out there, and we get kids talking to one another and talking to their friends about how they're doing rugby, even though there's no rugby going on right now, hopefully in a moment's notice we can say, yep, we're up and running, and everybody bring a friend. I don't care, just bring a friend, right, JJ? Is that where you're going?
Sorry, Daniel. Sorry, keep going. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, JJ, is that where you were going with that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I was just tying everything back into something else. And
go.
Daryl, are you still online? Hello, Daryl.
I'll ping him. Keep going.
I know he's there. I'm just.
Let me just say one more advantage we're not recognizing as coming out of a chaotic situation through with the Jamboree format. We're all able to really focus on that one Jamboree for our region. So it's not like if we miss X amount of time, we don't have to. If we have our kids in the teams in the area, just kind of focusing on that, and we build that up as we're coming out of this, that might be advantageous as well. I mean, that's what I plan on doing around here, anyways, just to kind of get us in the public eye. It's like, all right, if things start looking better, but like, this is what we're aiming for. This is our big structured tournament. We're gonna have X amount of teams here. We're gonna fill up this thing. It's gonna be awesome, and have people looking forward to that structured event. So that's it's another big advantage for us as well.
Absolutely. All right. So aside from being flexible, doing jamborees, that kind of stuff, what is post COVID-19 look like? What are some of the things that we could take advantage of, that we should be thinking about? Obviously, if the whole spring season is gone, then if you're a club that has 2 seasons and your fees are to cover 2 seasons, well, now you gotta you gotta redo that entire schedule. What are some of the other things we need to worry about or consider or think about when we start emerging?
Oh, yeah, like I said, even just our governing structure, with this going on, it's a very real possibility USA Rugby will just dissolve, and then we're going to be left bending for It's a very real possibility at this point. No one said that, but looking, that's kind of out there. They had a financial mark that they had to hit, and it wasn't like it wouldn't have been an awesome achievement if they did that. And with this happening, it's not looking great. So there's no determinations being made yet, but if that happens, and even Maro losing the money on the registration for the spring, which is a huge part of their income, from spring high school, that that's going to affect us as well. That's that'll mean the guy that's running the websites, who knows if he can get paid, who knows if our registrations go through. So like I said, it's really on us. I think our worst case scenario, when this all ends, of just talking and getting some rugby games together, signing some waivers, getting an insurance for a game or two, I think that's awesome. I think some positive out at the end of this would be great, but I wouldn't. But there's just so many X factors happening right now, because the financial structure from the top down is just terrible.
Oh boy.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, Daryl, you're on. What's up, man?
Okay, all right. Sorry about that. No. I've just been listening, and this is all good stuff, and I didn't want to interrupt you guys' flow. So,
JJ, you had a question for Daryl?
Yeah. Sorry, this thing's gone on for so long. It killed the battery on my PC. So I'll switch the phone. Sorry about the quality. But great thing about the Discord product, I'll do a bit of a sell pitch. To go from one to the other is awesome. So I was going to say, you mentioned communicating, getting a plan together, having everyone ready, everyone on the same mindset, and having a coordinated action plan where everyone has like a one-page document. They know of things they need to plan to get ready to press the button to be up and running in 3 to 5 days.
Question for Daryl.
Can you still hear me?
How?
Yeah, JJ, you're talking to Daryl.
How do you have the best profile picture here? Oh, that's awesome.
Sorry, am I good or?
Yeah.
Yeah, JJ,
Yeah.
you were talking. Daryl heard you. Shaggy's just ragging on Daryl a little bit. That's all.
So, as you know, I'm leaving. I'm moving on from Massachusetts, pending coronavirus stuff. And we've provisionally, Daryl's, who was with Santos, is also going to pick up the coordination of the youth Miro committee. Hence why I'm pulling you in, Daryl, to come into this conversation now, is to think about and communicate this probably planned startup for the summer.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, no, you're exactly right, and I've been mostly just kind of listening, just trying to just soak all this in, just so that I can um, absorb it all.
Yeah,
But yeah, I
Daryl,
mean,
and I know you were having some mic problems. I think what we were talking about is since other sports are probably also feeling the hurt, and maybe we don't know we're going to be allowed to get back on. So if let's say we're allowed to get back on, and it's towards the end of other sports that we'd be competing, with time, resources, kids' interest against. If we have a really great plan to get everything going from nothing to practices and games within 1 week or a couple of days, maybe this really bad situation can be turned into a fortuitous situation where we now are able to go and just sweep in a bunch of kids that weren't doing rugby before, or maybe that only were doing it for some seasons, and we can have everybody swept in. Does that make sense? If we have a really great plan to have not just one team, but have multiple teams, start with multiple teams, or maybe the entire league ready to just go at a moment's notice. Does that make sense? And JJ,
no, I think
yep, go
yeah,
ahead.
I think you're exactly right because I think some of the other sports are have already kind of thrown in the towel,
Mm-hmm.
and because they're a lot more, maybe they're because they're so
infrastructure
structured,
heavy.
they're not as flexible to
Yep,
change.
absolutely.
That yeah, they might have to postpone all the way into the fall, just because they can't recover as quickly, not as agile. So and they don't want to just play games just for the sake of playing games. They want to have a championship series, and they may feel that there's not enough time for it to do it. So
Yeah,
um,
and we we're not hampered by that. We like to just have games. We don't need to throw in the towel just because there's no championship series, and which is why getting through COVID, if we can build culture, if we can build collaboration, if we can not just have communication the way it is on a regular season, but use this downtime to improve on it, then hopefully we're building up the infrastructure so that when we do get to the post COVID, we can enact it. We can mobilize everybody faster,
mhm, yeah.
which sort of ties into what we're talking about today. Is what do we do during the lockdown, and then what do we do post COVID? So yeah, JJ, that's pretty much what you were trying to get across, right?
Yeah, and I think I mean, Mara is still the channel for this.
Mm-hmm.
Daryl and I probably got to group together and start getting some information back from the clubs and sharing some information out, and getting that one-page action plan and everyone committed to a process, or getting the information out to say they're completely out, or they might have a chance in. What are the issues on field spaces? What are the buttons they need to have to trigger
Right,
to get
exactly.
started? So at least we'd know we'd have half the teams available, or a quarter, or whatever it is. We'd have an understanding. And as we talked about before, maybe some clubs in the north are pooling their communities together, like we may do on the south, for example, or the west.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Particularly if one team, because if a team's going to have to pay X amount of dollars for a field, and they have to do it up front, and they don't know whether they're going to use that field at all during that time period, that team might just be like, "That's it, we're not doing it." But if the team next, couple towns over or closest or within driving distance, it doesn't have that problem, maybe those two teams just either practice on separate sides of the field or become one team for that one season, just so that we can get going when we can get out there onto the grass.
Yeah, and likewise, as you said, Stephen's got with the Barbarians, they have the town field space, and that may open up more quickly than, say, what I have with UMass, where they may have more rules and regulations is going to restrict getting started, or vice versa.
Yeah,
Yeah, well-
because they're a college campus. Yeah, I mean they're a lot of the colleges have really shut down, and they've sent students home and said, yeah,
Yeah.
we're not opening up until who
September.
knows when they're going to open up.
Yeah,
So
could
yeah,
be
they may be on a
September.
completely different schedule than your local park and rec department.
I think if we come together as a community, there's a solution.
Yeah.
I think if we don't do this together and we're doing it in isolation, yeah, we're not going to get very far.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I could not
I
agree
agree.
more. I could not agree more. And so we need a way of being able to discuss. Like right now, this is us talking, and if there's anybody out there listening, you're getting these ideas going, which is going to get you to reach over to the club next door, or reach out to any of us, because then we'll tie you into to everybody. And I think one of the portals that we can use for that is either just shout it out into Discord, shout it out into Facebook, shout it out into Facebook for Myro, or just let's start pushing Discord so we can start getting everybody together and getting some of that sharing going on. I think that's going to help us get through the lockdown, which was the first part of the show, and then really get us going so we can shoot as fast as we can out of the blocks when post-COVID comes around. All right. Do we have more on this, or are we running out of steam on this?
I think we're good.
I think we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're good.
I think we're good. Yeah, I think we ran this one long. I think because
Play
COVID is such.
rugby or-
Yeah, I think we ran this one long. I think because there was just so much there to mine. All right, guys, let's go around and a shout out or last words or whatever before we close this up. I think we definitely worked this one into the ground. So let's see. Starting at the top, Chris, you're at the top. Are you still with us? If not, I think your mic. I see that you're on mute.
Yes, I am still here.
Chris,
I
go.
I didn't know that I could have a last word instead of a shout out. I really like the way that you framed this up recently. There's an opportunity in front of us this year, and if we could even extend our community, if we were to do something like these watch parties, which I've been looking up on the side here, and you could get new people into the game, they're just going to be itching to get outside, and so there might be an opportunity for us. So I'm actually leaving this meeting really hopeful. My prepared shout out was for the USA Eagles I mentioned earlier, Cody Melfi and Alona Marr doing the Squawk Box feature on USA. Just a way to be creative and be engaged in the community. I appreciate that they went out and put themselves out there to answer some questions. It's the type of thing that we're doing. It's the type of thing that's going to help rugby grow during this downtime. So good for them. Well done.
Absolutely.
Yep, well done.
Love it, Chris. Well said.
JJ.
To you, JJ.
Thanks all again for a great session. Yeah, I agree with Chris. Just coming out feeling somewhat more positive and hopeful, and then just a message to everyone to be safe, lock up, do the hard yards, stay at home, lock up. Hopefully we get through this.
Absolutely. My shout out. Well, you know what? I'll go ahead and say it to all the people that are out there, first responders, doctors, all the people that are using the face masks to be able to continue their to help the rest of us out, and then also to the people, the store clerks, the supermarket people that. Whether they're doing it out of a sense of altruism or they're doing it because they fear that if they don't show up, they won't have a job. and they won't be able to pay any of their bills. Whatever is driving you guys to be out there. Shout out to you guys. I'm very lucky I get a chance to work from home, and the struggle that I'm facing is nowhere near what some people are out there facing. So that's it. Daryl, to you, buddy.
Yeah, I think I agree with the rest of you guys, and leaving a little more knowledgeable and positive about post COVID-19, and because we are going to come out of this, so it's just a matter of trying to get ourselves coordinated and understanding we'll have probably an abbreviated season. So the key is really going to be communications. We get, the more we can talk to each other and communicate with each other and share some ideas, the better we can all recover. Because I think it is optimistic to think that we can, if we stay in contact with each other and keep talking to each other, that we could potentially turn a bad situation into something good and recover some lost players by getting some new players who are left in the cold because their sports have completely thrown the towel in. So it's good that we might have the sky's the limit. And I think if we do this just right, then we could actually come out maybe a little bit stronger. So it's the possibilities are there. So yeah, and hopefully Navesh's plane trips will get canceled and he won't have to go anywhere. He'll just have to stay here, and so
Yeah.
I've been secretly wishing that. Sorry.
yeah. Singapore is just gonna fall into the ocean, so you might as well just stay here.
I'm feeling the love. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, that way you don't have to go anywhere because I'm nowhere near ready to take over. So
You do fine. You do fine, Daryl. Yeah. So I'm gonna agree with everyone so far. We're everything's we have a bright side to look forward to. It's a matter of what we do with it. It's what people do in bad situations are either they're the greatest accomplishments or the greatest failures. It's all a matter of taking advantage of the situation, not doing stock buybacks, but taking advantage of the situation and coming out stronger in the end. And we are definitely in a position that we can do that as a sport and as a culture. And we have a strong positive culture that people need. So we'd be doing a service by pressing forward and trying to provide that for these kids and families. So yeah. All on. It's all good.
Yeah, it's all good stuff. I'm excited to go forward. I mean, this is a really tough time, but I think it's great having this group together to talk and kind of get the next steps going and be prepared for what we can do right now. And then, once we get the green light, make the most of it. But my shout out tonight would be to all our family and friends in the healthcare field and elsewhere, sort of on the front lines of people that can't stay home, doing what they can to keep things going and take care of the sick people.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. All right, so folks, we've been at it for a while. I think we threw a lot for people to think about. In the show notes, I'm going to put the invite to Discord and some other of the resources that we talked about. Yeah, I guess just for the most part, weather COVID as best as you can. Everybody stay healthy, stay happy, and let's get ready to kick off the season as strong as possible. And you have us behind you, and you're free to listen in and use as little or as much of the nonsense that we throw out there into the ether. So everybody,